Welcome to your favorite Mortgage Guy podcast, the show that brings you timely insights, essential tips, and everything you need to know about mortgages. It's time to get informed, get inspired, and get moving with your host, Steve Rockefeller. Because here, your favorite mortgage guy has your back.
Welcome to another edition of Your Favorite Mortgage Guys podcast. I'm Steve Rockefeller here. You know what? We're going to try to demystify every aspect of home ownership, whether that's how to get a mortgage, how to have a realtor, what's an appraisal, what about a home inspector? Oh, wait, I need homeowners insurance. Wait a minute, my inspection came back and now I need some repairs. What does all this mean? Who's paying the closing costs? Do I need a down payment? What's the credit report? What's my payment? What's the interest rate? Oh my gosh, we could just go on and on and on. But we're going to demystify that for you. So listen, today my guest, Sean Fitzgibbons, Thrive Media, and Sean's going to talk to us today about marketing. Now, the aspect of marketing is in so many different ways, because if you think about what happened back in the 70s and the 80s and in the 90s, and now we hit 2000s, look what's happened. So Sean, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Steve.
And tell me this, in your opinion, what is one of the most important aspects of marketing?
So it's kind of a selfish answer here, but video and social media, I think, has become a huge part of what you need for marketing, whether it's running a contractor's business of doing garage doors or doing home loans. It's just become such an important part to reach people because that's where everybody are. They're on their phones. It used to be, newspaper. You only had the options of mailers or radio, but now social media really is the king.
And so, using my phone as an example, so it's all swipe left, swipe right, 1/10 of a second, period. You just got to catch their attention, right?
The hook is the important thing.
The hook. That's what we want to talk about is the hook. So let's talk about the hook for just 1 second. So nowadays, what out of all of your clients, what do you think the number one hook is that people are looking for? Are they looking for that instantaneous, I need to catch them on the cell phone? Or are they looking to catch them on Facebook? Or is it all of the aspects of social media? What in your opinion, is there one aspect of it? Because listen, I'm
like
not
a platform
naive.
that you think is most important. Is that what you're kind of asking?
Yeah, and I'm not too naive to believe that there's no golden nugget, one golden nugget.
Yeah.
It takes a village.
Yeah, I mean, if you're picking one to really go after right now, I'd say Instagram has really taken to the forefront. TikTok, obviously, if you've seen the news, we don't know how long it'll be here. So that's kind of where I direct people is Instagram is probably what you should optimize for if you can only handle one social media. And you can connect it to your Facebook, so it's just a real easy way to just kind of post to one and then have two that actually are getting used.
Broaden your horizons.
Yeah.
So, for example, like TikTok, we worry about that going away, but it looks like the TikTok platform has changed. So does that mean that, like Lemonade, that's owned by TikTok?
Yep.
I think it's the same exact platform.
Yeah.
So are you finding that people are starting to gravitate to some of these newer platforms? Threads, Lemonade, Parler.
Yeah, I always tell people that experimenting and trying these out is never a bad thing because you don't know what's going to catch fire and become the new TikTok. Like, 5 years ago, TikTok wasn't a thing, and now all of a sudden it's probably the biggest platform that everybody's consuming. So I think it's worth trying. But the thing that I would caution people of is to go all in on a platform saying, this is the new thing, and now I'm going to be, the first to market here. So I wouldn't go that far. Keep what you have going. Don't shift just because you think this is the new fad, because that's a lot of times what it is just a new fad.
Right. And no telling how long the fad is going to last.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay, so let me ask you, thinking about what today's social media looks like now, and I'm not talking about the realtors specifically or the lenders, but you've got all things home ownership. You've got the realtor, the home inspector, the appraiser, the lender, and all the other aspects, the closing agent. When you're talking with them, are they all looking to get that extra leg up on the marketing aspect, or are they kind of looking at it like, hey, I want to get the word out, but I want to educate as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think education is a great way to go because if you're looking at like ways to grab people's attention that relate to your business, then educating them, and everybody's, at some point, everybody's probably going to buy a home. So it's always something that I think will grab people to say, well, maybe this is a little tidbit that I need to know when I buy a house. But yeah, I think educating is a great way to do it when you're trying to grab people's attention.
So not like the old days when you would open up the Saturday paper and you'd see the realtor with their poofy hair, and the typical old school realtors. It's not like that anymore. Although they're still out there. But hey, listen, you can teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
So Sean, let me ask you a question. So in my industry, in the financial industry, in the insurance industries, variety of industries, we have compliance departments, right? They're like the internal police, right?
Yep.
You can't do anything about it, but you just have to play within the guardrails. So what do you do on the social media side or even on the media side? How do you make sure that everybody's compliant?
Yeah, so that's definitely a conversation that I have to sit down and have with the clients. Some of them don't even think about that aspect, and then we make something. So what the biggest piece of advice I'd give is talk to your compliance department right away, whatever that is. If it's, if you're a realtor and you need to check with your brokerage and see what you're allowed to say, what you're not allowed to say, you're going to waste a bunch of time and money and content making if you don't know what those guidelines are that you have to follow. So just come up with a plan of what you can and can't do, and then we can always work around that type of thing.
Interesting. So you know what? It's like in my industry, like we can't talk about specific rates. Like I couldn't tell you right now, today's rate is this.
Yeah.
Because it's based upon the credit score, the property type, whether it's a townhouse or a condo, or the down payment, the loan type. There's so many different aspects. So we can talk about generalities. Like I love telling people I can find a rate that fits your family's budget, but we have to be compliant in that area.
Yep. Yeah, keeping it vague is usually the way to go. And you can also put it, what I found is you can put it on other sources. So like you can say this website can tell you this, rather than giving them.
Well, I don't want to give my competitors information.
That's true. That's true.
Just watch the news. The general rate is this.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, when we talk about the news, so if you watch whatever your favorite news channel is, CNBC, financial news channel, CNBC, MSNBC, Bloomberg, those are the three popular ones. I focus on Fox Business and CNBC. They will always show an interest rate that is generic rate around the nation. So what ends up happening is, for example, like I saw this morning, the generic rate around the nation is 6.49. Okay, that's a conventional loan. So the problem is, like, that might not be the rate here. It might be 6.75 here. But in some of the sand states, like Central America, where, the real estate sales might not be as robust as they are here, we might find that the rates are a little different. So when you're looking at these rates, you kind of have to be a little more aware of, hey, this is kind of a generic term. So, for example, on interest rates, I love telling people, I have never met a client that wants the highest interest rate or the highest payment. You don't want that, do you?
No, I don't. Yeah. I've heard you can like buy it down though, right? Isn't there like a discount point or something like that?
Great question. So listen. Here's the thing. So discount points. Everybody says, well, if I pay 1 point, does it give me a 1% lower in rates? Well, let me take a second to explain. A discount point is a fee. So it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. So like if you pay one discount point, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go from a rate of 6.5 to 5.5. It might only make a difference of 0.1% in your interest rate or 0.25%. Now, it's a fee. It's all it is. It's a fee to buy down the interest rate to get you a better payment. But guys, here's what I tell every one of my clients. If you're going to buy the fee and you're in a declining interest rate environment, you might as well just take a couple $100 bills and tear them up into tiny pieces and set them on fire, because it's not going to be worth it. If you decide that you want to buy the rate down in a way that it's going to be meaningful over the term of the loan, we would look at the analysis of, okay, so if you pay a couple of points and all of a sudden we go, okay, well, wait a minute, now you can save 0.5% in rate. You'll never have to refinance this. You can front load it. Now, I know that may sound confusing. That's why you need to talk to a professional like myself. But Sean, that also plays into the annual percentage rate, or APR.
Okay. I don't know if I know exactly what that means. Can you kind of elaborate on what that is.
Exactly. So an annual percentage rate. The problem with the APR is that it was legislated in the early 1970s. Back in the day where you could finance closing costs, you could finance discount points, which you can't do that anymore. So what is the APR? It's basically the loan amount plus all of the closing costs divided into all of the payments.
Okay.
But the problem is you can't calculate an accurate APR. There's one way you can calculate an accurate APR: after you pay off the loan. Because what if you only made 18 payments and you sold your house?
Yeah, that's going to affect it.
Right. What if you made a late payment and you had to pay a late fee? There's just so many things that affect the APR. So now what we're trying to do is we're trying to get them to change the legislation as it relates to the annual percentage rate. Because think about this. How many times have you been driving down the street and you're listening to the radio and you hear the car commercial come on, and the guy comes in and he says, for 10 cents down, my wife won't let me give them away. But then at the end of the commercial, you hear someone talking so fast that you don't understand the disclosures, but you hear the word annual percentage rate.
Yeah.
That's
they say like zero APR sometimes, right?
Most of the time they will say zero APR. But there's no way to calculate an accurate APR until the actual loan is paid off.
Gotcha.
So a couple more questions. We're going to wrap this up. Guys, I got to tell you, this is great listening to Sean talk about media, talk about what's important. One of the aspects that a couple of the realtors that I work with are asking me is, I don't understand how to do this. I know how to turn it on. I know how to play my TikTok, my Instagram, my Facebook, my LinkedIn, my whatever. What does someone like yourself do? Soup to nuts. Do you come in? Do you meet with them, determine their needs?
Yeah, so I like to start it off with just a consultation of kind of figuring out what their goals are, because we can make content, but if you don't have a specific goal in mind of like an audience that you're trying to reach, then we're making content that's useless if we don't have that goal in mind. So we sit down, we talk about what are you trying to get. A lot of the times I will set up a period where we film and we batch. I think that's the most effective way to really use realtors' time, because obviously they got a lot going on. So we'll sit down, and I've done this with you before, where we sit and we'll do an hour. Videos, we'll spend an hour and we'll have all of our little script points made. ChatGPT is great for that. YouTube, you can usually find all sorts of different things. So we'll sit down and we'll film it, and then I'll give it to the editing team, and then that way you have 10 videos. If you want to post one a week, you've now got 10 weeks of content that you're ready to go with. So that's traditionally what I've done with a lot of real estate agents that are trying to do that kind of educational model of like, how can I get some content out there to keep my name up in people's ears, and then also give them some education.
And Sean, up here, maybe over here, down here, over here, somewhere we're going to post your information in there so that they can reach you. Guys, here's what I'm going to tell you. You're not going to win unless you're marketing yourself. It's just that simple. Because you can only sell a home, if you're a realtor, to how many family members that are available to buy a house, right? If you're in insurance, there's only so many people you can talk to about selling insurance to. So my point is, reach out to Sean. The way he does it with me is he batches 10 to 12 videos at a time. We did that Monday. We taped the videos, and it's intense. I mean, you got to be ready. But if you're right here, if you're set and you know what you want to do, then it's easy. Now, you can reach out to me. I can give you the guidance, but Sean's going to be the expert on this. I'm not an expert in social media. So, Sean, thanks again.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Meeting with us today. So, listen, your favorite mortgage guy, Steve, here. You know what? We're going to continue doing this. Guys, I appreciate you watching. We're going to keep it short. We're going to keep it to the point, and we're going to keep it to the point where you know your next steps buying a home. Bye now.
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to follow your favorite mortgage guy on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Have questions or ready to take the next step? Reach out at steve@mloans.com or call 757-301-9776. We'll catch you next time.